had 2 games that night. I was in a lot of pain, which I was used to because I'd been playing in pain the entire season.
You could tell that she was laboring somewhat, but Claire just has the heart of a champion, and she's just going to keep playing.
I was sitting at the scorer's table, keeping score for the game, and I just heard a loud thud.
I think we just started yelling for help.
Yeah, yelling 911. You have a feeling of helplessness.
And it was very quickly that there was people there with us, very quickly.
She fell about right here. Starting back in 2006, our school got the first AED. As part of that training, we would come together and we would have drills unannounced. Because of the code blue drills, there were some things that were just instinctual to me. The AED is literally right outside of those doors. Go grab the AED, bring it back, and get to work.
You really can't describe just the fear you had going through your mind.
It really looks like they were running a drill.
June 2, 2011. Grace Firestone graduates from Tower Hill School, the only athlete, boy or girl, to be awarded 15 varsity letters. 2 days later, Grace suffers sudden cardiac arrest. Her brother Grant had been trained in CPR. He began immediately after Mom called 911. Newcastle County arrived 3 minutes later. Grace was paddled 9 times and stopped breathing on the way to the hospital. Led by state senators Kathy Cloutier and Bethany Hall Long, stakeholders were brought together to create the Grace Firestone Act for Sudden Cardiac Awareness, signed by Governor Jack Markell in 2014. But that was not enough. That same year, we founded heartinthegame.org to give Delaware students EKGs and to train in CPR and AED. An EKG can save one life. Knowledge of CPR and AED can make anyone a hero. Sudden cardiac arrest, the electrical red, is not a heart attack, the plumbing blue. In SCA, if one does not receive CPR and AED within 15 minutes, they are either dead or never again the same cognitively. On the other hand, a person suffering a heart attack can drive themselves to the hospital. Sudden cardiac arrest is an electrical malfunction causing the heart to suddenly stop beating. It can happen at any age. The victim is immediately unresponsive and not breathing. The victim may gasp or shake. Our first event was at Springer Middle School on January 25, 2014. Our state senators were in attendance. At that event, we had a pediatric cardiologist on site. Joe Till, a sophomore athlete at Brandywine High, was screened. The doc takes a look and says, let's do that one again. Same results. The doc brings the father over. What's Joe doing now? The father says, he's wrestling. The doc says, he needs to stop wrestling now, and you need to see a cardiologist next week. 2 weeks later, Joe had a 9-hour procedure at Nemours. 6 weeks later, he's on the treadmill. The docs say, hit the playing ground, Joe, you're good to go. An EKG is a 5-minute non-invasive screen of the heart. A pre-participation exam by stethoscope identifies 8% of abnormalities. Family history identifies 20%. And EKG identifies up to 95%. A heart in the game EKGs cost $20 versus $150, the cost of the procedure in a hospital. In 2016, we joined Parent Heart Watch, the national voice for protecting youth from sudden cardiac arrest. At our annual conferences, placards of the children of our 55-member foundations are exhibited. Grace is only one of 8 survivors. Sudden cardiac arrest has no age boundaries. It kills more people than other more high-profile diseases and accidents. 325,000 to 316,000 in the year 2018. That translates to 7,000 kids per year, or 20 kids per day. A standard physical is simply insufficient. SCA is the #1 killer of student athletes. It's the #2 cause of student deaths. Auto accidents are #1, but it's the #1 killer of students on campus. The national average is 1 in 300 students have an undetected heart abnormality. Here we are at one of our events with our state-of-the-art digital EKG machines. Sudden cardiac arrest is a national public health crisis. This is why we train in CPR and AED at all our events. We create a poster for each of our in-school events. Here's one from Howard Vocational Tech High School in 2017. Lieutenant Governor Bethany Hall Long has attended our events in the past 8 years. Bethany has a PhD in health policy and nursing administration and is a tenured professor at the University of Delaware. Our protocol. A consent form is mandatory to be screened. Results are sent to our national network of pediatric cardiologists for evaluation. PDFs are then returned to us in 3 categories: low risk, follow-up, and higher risk. For the latter 2, the PDF is sent to the parent and the AD of the school with an explanation of the condition. We also send along a thumbnail of the syndrome that had been diagnosed. We then ask for a follow-up from the visit to the cardiologist that is sent to the AD as well. After all that is done, we send out an all clear to those students with low risk. Heart in the Game is part of a national network of like foundations who send screening results to the Cardiac Safety Research Consortium out of Duke University. Already they are documenting hundreds of thousands of data that will eventually be sent to Congress to attack this national health crisis. Is your child at risk? Every healthy child thinks they're invulnerable. The Firestone family certainly thought that. We had no family history. But don't assume. Ask your child. During COVID, it was impossible to get nurses or techs to do our screenings. We reached out to students at St. George's Tech High School in their EMS-focused curriculum. These 3 ladies are the first of many that will be part of Heart in the Game going forward. Brianna, Morgan, and Izzy won the statewide community awareness competition and are headed to Nashville this summer to compete nationally. Here are the 3 juniors at work at our event at William Penn High School on April 11, 2022. Our mission is to make Delaware the heart healthiest state. We have the power. We have the drive. Our goals are to make mandatory EKG screenings for all athletes, create a cardiac emergency response team in every middle and high school, require CPR AED training for all coaches, PE and health teachers, and require AEDs in schools based on population and footprint.